Hello. Today I am going to answer the most popular question that I have gotten recently. And this is, how do you manage your time? Even on Go Quarters, that's a community that I founded earlier this year. One question is, are you sure you have 24 hours? Are you sure we have the same 24 hours? Actually, we do. If you're new here, my name is Adebola, and my name is Adebola. Adebola, not Adebola. My name is Adebola. Okay, so I started YouTube. I started many years back. I abandoned it, but I resumed it again this year. I think March or April, thereabout. And so I manage this YouTube community. I have a community outside YouTube that I manage. We have almost 400 members. It's called Go Quarters. It's a platform or a community for career professionals who want high performing life. They want a healthy and wealthy life. I created that community, and we have like-minded individuals there. And all we talk about is basically how do we make the most of our beautiful lives. So yeah. And then recently I started JK Wealth Community, and this is a community for immigrants living in the UK. And the primary purpose is for us to come together and make smart financial decisions, help each other grow, and gain that financial stability, build that wealth in the UK. Because I believe firmly that irrespective of where you're planted, you can bloom, you can grow, So yeah, that's why I started that. We will officially launch November 1. So I am looking forward to that. And I am looking forward to the magic that we can create as a community, I'm looking forward to our growth individually and collectively. So yeah, and the intention is to have JK Wealth Nigeria, JK Wealth Canada. So help me God. So I have that. I still have my 9 to 5, a job that I love so much. I do strategy and risk, and I really love it. Yeah, I'm a mom of 4 boys. I am married with 4 boys. So I think the question is understandable when people ask, how do you manage GQ, manage YouTube, manage your career, and then of course still show up at home, for the kids, for your husband? How are you able to combine everything together? It is challenging, I must say. I cannot even pretend like, oh, it's a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park, but I think what keeps me happy and what keeps me pushing through without losing my enthusiasm is the passion that I have for wanting on a daily basis to contribute to other people's growth. I want to be part of people's journey. If one person watches my YouTube video and does something differently, as a result of it, then I'm most pleased. So yeah, what I always say is that you have to have something that pushes you, like an overarching purpose. And underneath that, you have to build some goals for yourself. And I think that will push you, even without you knowing whether you like it or not. You're being pushed to go out there and make magic happen. So that overarching purpose is important if you want to get on that journey of self-discovery, self-mastery, and then of course interdependence, where it's not just about you anymore. It's not just about you also depending on people. It's also about giving value, receiving value, and knowing that many other people look up to you for guidance, for growth, for motivation. So yeah, so if I would answer that question, I would say my real reason for showing up every day is that my big purpose, which continues to drive me even when I don't want to be driven. So that's the first one. And then if I want to answer the question again in another light, the purpose is there. The second one also is the zeal or the desire to build for myself financial freedom. I continue to look every day. How do I monetize my passion, this thing that I love to do? How do I monetize it? And that continues also to drive me to say, as much as I want to give, I understand that You cannot pour from an empty cup. I also have to continue to learn. I also have to continue to invest in myself. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to need financial resources to do that. So I can as well be making money from, what I love to do, which takes me to that common thing that I always talk about, ikigai. I don't know if you've heard it before. I have a video on it. I would link it here, and you should watch that video. It might also help you to discover your true north. So that financial freedom continues to drive me, or the desire for financial freedom continues to drive me to say, as much as I give value, I also want to receive value so that I can continue to invest in myself. So if it looks like I am not sleeping, I am sleeping. But I'll tell you, those are the two things that continue to drive me to do better. I can also say that I want to set a standard for my children. I want them to see me and know that something can come out of hard work. Most times I say that we're being washed. We're laying some sort of foundation, whether we know it or not. How we live our lives continue to tell them what is possible. Yeah. And if we choose a life of complacency, we are teaching them, you can be complacent in life. But again, they also see the outcome of the complacency. But if you show them that it is possible for you to actually go out there and get things done, set goals for yourself, put in the hard work, put in the energy, ask for help when you need, network, do all those things, you will get good outcomes out of it. So what I'm saying is that we also, with the way we live our lives, teach them what is possible. And that's why, if you ask me again, I think I want to continue to show my children, what is possible, that hard work pays, and that you have to live a life of purpose, you have to live a life of meaning. You cannot just settle. You cannot settle for mediocrity. You have to continue to push yourself, and then you have to continue to work hard. I remember I was speaking with my first son because he's preparing for his exams, and I said to him, let's get some cards, revision cards. I'm happy to be asking you questions. I don't have any other thing I'm doing. I'm not busy. My life's purpose is to make sure that you guys are successful. I say that a lot. My life's purpose is to make sure that you guys are successful in your academics, in your this, And immediately I said that, my last son said, "We are not busy. What about GQ? What about go-cutters?" And then the first one was like, "What about go-cutters? You are busy. What about YouTube?" They started listing all the things that I am currently doing. But again, I think my point is that depending on where I am and depending on what's in my space at that time, I adjust my level of busyness. So if it is that my kids need me, then my kids take priority and I make them my life's purpose. If my friend needs me, depending also on the timing. I used to tell some of my friends that whenever you need me, I'm here. I'm not too busy for you. It may look like I'm running like headless chicken everywhere. I am not too busy for you. So I also want to always show up, for them. So, okay. So that's, if you ask me, those are the three reasons why it looks like I am not breathing, but I am breathing. So I'll tell you why I've been able to still maintain, the things that I do with the same level of enthusiasm, and how I manage my time, because a lot of it rests also on you managing your time. I think the first one is I try to wake up early. And I think for some reason, there's a way it works that whether you set alarm or not, if you get used to a particular time, you wake up at that time. I set my alarm for 5, even though I don't leave my bed at that time. I leave my bed at 6. But between 5 and 6, I am in between sleep, in between, I'm just thinking what next to do, sometimes quiet moments, sometimes I fall asleep again, within that time. But what I do afterwards is then to pray. I'm telling you my typical day is then to pray. And after prayer, I read my Quran. I like to read my Quran every morning. I think it helps me to set the day. And I read the Arabic, I read the English. Like I used to tell my son, for me, I want to understand what I am reading. And sometimes if I have time, I take a snap, I take a picture and I share it on my WhatsApp story, And because sometimes also, I believe that journey is not, it's not for only you, always try and share your learnings. So I share my learnings through that. And then I come downstairs to prepare my kids for school. So it's more or less like I do the packing the bag, cooking the food. My husband does the dressing up and all that. So we sort of split it. So afterwards, if it is the day I am doing school runs, so I do school runs. If not, I resume at work. But what has been helpful is that from the previous day, I already know what I am doing. Spending time on Go Quotas before 9. I'm checking my YouTube studio. How are my videos performing? And I am taking learnings immediately. If they are not performing well, I'm checking, is it the thumbnail, is it the title I am fixing. Sometimes it can be depressing, and sometimes you're like, oh, nice, doing okay. So I just check that. And first thing in the morning, I don't check my Gmail or check my WhatsApp, or no. I want to do that when I want to do that, and I really like to do that when I have been productive in the morning. And then I check Go Quotas, respond to messages and all that. And when it's 9, for some days, my morning starts with meetings, and some days it's a little bit not busy. So I try to manage between, checking my email, responding to office email, and all those things. But that's typically takes me till about 3. And if it is the day I'm doing, school runs, I do school runs. If it is not, I prepare meals for my kids when they come back from school. So I try to do that as well. Then in the evening, after my career work, I start my personal work, which is if I need to write a script, I write a script. If I need to write a program for Go Quotas, which is my community, I write the program. If I need to post, I post. If I need to, I just know that for all those other part of my life, I am basically also showing up for those areas. And then in the evening, I go for most times I have meetings also, like mentoring sessions. Like today, for example, I have mentoring session from 6 to 7. 6 to 6:30, one person, 6:30 to 7, another person. And most times I do this for free. This is my own personal social responsibility. Like I said, if I can help one person, I am most fulfilled, because the one person will go on to pay it forward. So that's quite exciting for me. And then I go to the gym. Most times I listen to my podcast. My favorite podcast is Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. He's my best friend. He doesn't know it yet, but he is. I've learned so much from him. You should check out this podcast. So sometimes I'm listening to him and I'm working out, and then other times so for now, I think I've been distracted by Prison Break. I'm seeing it from the beginning again, and I realized I didn't even finish it the last time. So sometimes at the gym, if I'm on the treadmill, I could watch that maybe for 30 minutes before going on to my podcast. So yeah. And then if I need to write, because sometimes also I am writing posts in the night or in the evening when I'm back from the gym. If I need to post on LinkedIn the following day or post on Go Quotas, I am also writing the post. So again, I think if what I just described doesn't look too much for me, it already feels like a full-blown life. And yeah, some days I'm still even playing around, goofing around with my kids, and asking their 1,000 questions. So I think for me is more or less like a life that is on auto run, doing the things that I love. One thing I would say is, if you hear everything I just talked about, you would see I am not scrolling through social media. I do not have the time for it, per se. Sometimes I feel, oh God, I'm missing out. But then I'm asking myself, missing out of what? What am I missing? So I rarely do social media, apart from, of course, YouTube, where I post and watch a couple of videos sometimes just to learn. And then LinkedIn, where I go once in a while. But I want to concentrate on growing my YouTube, growing my community, especially now that I have a paid community. I want to pay attention to that. I want to make sure I continue to deliver value to the people that have trusted me with their resources, their financial resources and their time. I want to make sure I give value to them. I'll put the links to all this in the description box. So please feel free to check out our community. Feel free to join us. You would learn something new and you would enjoy the community. So yeah, I think, that's it. This is just me trying to answer that question. How do you manage your time? How do you, do a lot of things? And you see, if you want to write a book, from all the posts you share on LinkedIn, on social media, basically, you can combine it at some point. And that's what I do sometimes. Everything I'm writing, at some point, I intend collating it and then using it to write my second book. So I'm writing a book by writing a post. So yeah, so you could do that. Just make sure you're learning and you're sharing. And at some point, you would have shared a lot that if you put it together, it's almost like you have a book that somebody can pick up and read one day. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell on how I manage my time. And I just gave you a typical day in my life. Some days are not like that, but most days are like that. And yeah, I just try to balance it out and I focus on the things that are most important to me. Yeah, this was supposed to be a very random video. I don't know how. I hope you've learned something. Let me put it that way. I hope there is something to be learned from it. So, and I hope I've answered some of the questions around, do you have more than 24 hours? No, I don't. I just sort of manage it well, and I sort of, focus on the things that are most important to me. And yeah, thank you. Watch all my videos, please. I share science. Take care. Bye.